What if the quiet desperation swirling through Chase Center's locker room isn't just about losses, but a post-stopping injury that threatens to tip the scales of a fraught Golden State season? Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Tonight, we dive into breaking news that's already rattling the nerves of Dub Nation and reshaping the Warriors' fragile playoff landscape. Gary Payton Tua, Warrior whose grit and defense have made him a backbone amid chaos, has reportedly torn a ligament in his left thumb, sidelining him for an estimated 3 to 6 weeks, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. This isn't just another injury update. It's a seismic blow to a squad desperately juggling momentum, health, and playoff positioning as the regular season dwindles toward a playoffs crucible. Payton, an unsung hero who's battled through a non-displaced nose fracture mask and all over the past 9 games, recently stepped up his minutes, averaging about 15 minutes per game but trending higher as Steph Curry sat out nursing a hip injury. His presence on the floor is about more than stats. It's about a defensive intensity and spirit that Kerr has centralized alongside Draymond Green and Klay Thompson when this team needs grit, hustle, and ferocity the most. On March 10th, Payton unleashed a career-high 26 points against his former team, the Portland Trail Blazers, reminding fans why this 9-year veteran who's bounced through stints with the Bucks, Wizards, Lakers, and Blazers remains invaluable so deep into the year. Yet tonight, with his playing time and effectiveness dimmed by this painful thumb injury, Payton finished with just 4 points and 7 rebounds in a lopsided 112-86 loss to Miami, a game that exposed cracks in the Warriors' armor and hinted at battles still to come. The timing couldn't be worse. Golden State sits precariously tied with the LA Clippers for the no 6 seed in the Western Conference, teetering on the edge of forced entry into the dreaded play-in tournament, a path fraught with peril and unpredictability. Locked now in 7th. With a 41-31 record, they cling to just a half-game lead over the surging Minnesota Timberwolves, a rivalry simmering with playoff implications and the hunger of hungry young guns like Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, both craving their moment in the spotlight. With just 4 games left on a punishing road trip against 2 of the West's fiercest contenders, first the Lakers, 44-28, then the Memphis Grizzlies, 44-28. Each outing feels like a battle for survival. Then returning home, the Warriors face back-to-back Titans, the Denver Nuggets, who have the MVP frontrunner, Nikola Jokic, orchestrating every possession, and the Houston Rockets, a scrappy unit fueled by young wings and the ever-improving guard, Jalen Green. Both battle-tested squads with postseason aspirations that could make or break Golden State's dream of another splash-era title run. Payton's injury is more than a medical setback. It shakes the foundation of a team desperate for secondary scoring, relentless perimeter defense, and the intangible firepower that has carried them through disbelief and championship glories alike. After being traded back to the Warriors in a complicated 4-team deal during last season, Payton embraced his role as an energy injector, proving that the Warriors' relentless pursuit of cohesion and championship pedigree hinges on every bench spark and every defensive stop. His career averages modest but meaningful reflect a player who brings more than just numbers. 5.5 points, 2.8 rebounds, 1.1 assists, and 1 steal per game with a sharpshooting 34% on three-pointers. A quietly efficient threat that opponents must respect. But with the Warriors on a losing skid of 2 straight and 3 losses in 5 games, the cracks in Golden State's armor are visible, and Payton's absence threatens to expose vulnerabilities no dynasty can afford to nurture. Consider the crucial roles he has filled. When Curry slashes to the rim, Payton provides the weak side rotation that shores up the defense. When Green initiates a switch, Payton's quick hands force turnovers that fuel transition bursts. When Thompson stretches the floor, Payton's chip-in hustle rebounds kill second-chance opportunities for the opposition. Lose that glue, and the pieces start to fall through the cracks. Will Kevin Looney's returning minutes offset the loss? Looney has provided rim running and screening that complement Payton's defensive mobility, but Looney himself has battled ankle soreness. And without Payton's perimeter cover, Looney can't gamble for help without sacrificing his post presence. Even Jordan Poole's recent offensive outbursts can't fill the defensive void. Payton carves with every tip out and chase down block. And what of the Warriors' rotation? Coach Kerr may lean more heavily on Chris Paul, who's veteran savvy in. Late-game situations could stabilize the backcourt, but CP3's 37-year-old legs have already cramped under heavy minutes this season. Curry may be forced to shoulder playmaking duties deeper into games, risking fatigue that led to his 3-game absence earlier. Draymond can only do so much in orchestrating defensive coverages. His 30 minutes per game cap limits the green holistic anchor he provides. Even Klay, whose playoff-hardened spirit electrified Oracle Knights of 2015 and 2017, has seen his shooting percentage dip under such defensive scrutiny. If Klay can't find rhythm because opposing wings can key on his movement, the splash never happens. Beyond the court, whispers echo through the locker room. Is this the silent pivot that eclipses even the Doran era's tumultuous rise and fall? Will the front office explore trade possibilities for athletic wings, perhaps dangling picks or the expiring salaries of Otto Porter Jr. or Nemanja Bjelica in hopes of sourcing a two-way guard who can replicate Payton's spark? Could Kevin Looney be included in a blockbuster for a backcourt stopper who can guard both guards and wings? Or will the Warriors double down on internal development, extending Kuminga and Moody while giving rookie Brandon Podziemski more burn? To unearth a hidden spark? Each option carries risk. Trade away youth for a rental and damage future contending flexibility, or rely on unproven talent and risk an early playoff exit. The emotional toll on the roster is palpable. In the hallways, the standard issue Warriors water bottle cooler stands half empty. Even the normally boisterous locker room banter has softened to terse video review debates. Curry, typically an eternal optimist, was terse after the Miami loss. "We've got to fight through adversity like we always do," he said, waving off questions about Payton's thumb. Yet behind those words, you sense the unspoken worry. In a single possession, a turnover or a defensive lapse can cost them seeding or even a series. Draymond, ever the vocal leader, barked at cameras postgame. "We need more juice, more edge, and more discipline. Can't be soft down the stretch." But when your softest helper is cut off the table, the edge loses some of its bite-domination. This is where you come in. The Chase Center faithful must raise our voices louder than ever, drown out the doubt that creeps in when injuries mount and losses sting. Whether you're courtside or streaming, let every cheer, every rally cry, every post on social media remind these Warriors that the fans are with them, blood in the water hunger and all. Because if there's one thing this team has proven, it's how shockwaves of doubt can galvanize greatness. Recall the We Believe season in 2007, when nobody expected Baron Davis and Mana Ellis to knock off the No-1 Suns. But that underdog? Fireball runs through Warriors' veins, a combustible mix of belief and defiance. So as the clock ticks toward the playoffs, and Payton's rehab plan begins under the Warriors' medical staff's watchful eye, the team faces a crossroads. Will they adapt, shift defensive schemes, perhaps employ a zone drop coverage more often to mask Payton's absence? Will Kerr experiment with lineups featuring 3 big wings, Moody at the 4, Kuminga at the 3, and Green at the 5 to create defensive versatility? Or will they revert to small ball depth lineups, uber thin but lightning fast, relying on Curry-Gaddy dribble drives and Thompson corner bombs to outscore opponents? Each path is fraught. Zone leaves them vulnerable to offensive rebounding. 3 big wings sacrifice spacing, and small ball invites bruising from teams with length at the 4 and 5. But if there's one constant in Warriors history, it's reinvention under duress. From Mark Jackson's foundation to Kerr's championship blueprint, this franchise thrives on unfolding narrative twists. Stephen Curry's fallaway 3 that rewrote shooting lore. Clay's 37-point quarter that defied comprehension. Monumental comebacks, buzzer beaters, and near collapses that tested and affirmed the DNA of champions. And perhaps this thumb injury is the next chapter of Crucible forging a fresh narrative, where next man up steps into the fray with unbreakable resolve. If the sting of Payton's thumb injury cut through Dub Nation's heart like a dagger, then brace yourself. This is the moment where the Warriors either spiral into shadow or ignite a legend reborn. Imagine walking into Chase Center tomorrow morning. The echoes of that Miami blowout still reverberate through practice, and you can hear Kerr's voice tight over the hum of silence in the locker room. No one is pretending this is just a blip anymore. This is the crossroads where every decision, every possession, every grimace on the floor counts like gold or dust. Payton's grit on defense was the glue holding the second unit together, the guy who chased down loose balls, locked down wings, and punched every fast break in the mouth. Now, suddenly, that relentless heartbeat is missing, and the Warriors must rewrite everything on the fly. Draymond, yeah, the heartbeat and brain of this squad, is still there, barking orders with that classic intensity. But can he shoulder even more of this unraveling defense under such physical strain? Can Klay Thompson, simmering with that familiar, frustrating midseason slump, find his splash again when the margin for error shrinks by the day? And what about James Wiseman, who's been the whisper of hope in the paint, but still learning how to play the big stage under this weight? You can't help but see the lights dim a little on the dynasty's core pillars just when the pressure is so suffocating. Meanwhile, Steph Curry, our eternal assassin, is out there fighting through that nagging hip injury. Every step a reminder that even legends bleed, break, and battle back from the edge. It's not just the physical toll. It's the crushing psychological weight of carrying a team teetering on the brink, while doubt creeps like the fog over the bay. And this isn't just about a scrappy backup getting hurt. This fracture widens a fissure that's been slowly opening since last summer's off-season tremors, when whispers of Kerr's fatigue and the front office's silence brewed a storm off the court. What if Payton's absence triggers more than lineup shuffles as the injury lengthens? Are we staring down the possibility of pushing Klay and Draymond to unsustainable minutes or forcing young guns like Kuminga and Moody into roles they aren't quite ready for, hoping their raw energy can staunch the bleeding? The Clippers, the Wolves, the Lakers, the Grizzlies, those are not just names on a schedule. They are live wires, hungry wolves circling, smelling fear and weakness. Each game feels like a tactical minefield where one mistake could bury the Warriors' postseason hopes in a dead man's ground of play-in chaos. If you think this is just a minor late-season shuffle, think again. This is the kind of high-stakes crucible that forges or fractures legacies. And let's face it, we're no strangers to that narrative. Remember the 2019 Finals meltdown? The dark cloud of doubt that followed Durant's departure? The ache when every trade chip, every rough loss felt like another crack in the splash. Dome's foundation? It's that raw history screaming now, in the present. Because every challenge the Warriors have ever faced has come down to one thing. Can this band of Warriors transform pain and setback into pure, unrelenting willpower? Can Kerr adjust his blueprint and coax that Warriors magic to light up again? Without Payton, with Steph fighting through pain, and the bench stretched thin, the tension is so thick you could cut it with a Klay sniper shot. The pressure cooker is sealed tight, and you know every Dub fan is scrutinizing every move. Should the front office pull the trigger on a trade? Should they gamble on a depth signing or try to sprint for the finish with the current roster patched together? And what does Steph's future look like if his body keeps fracturing? Can the mind behind all those impossible threes respond to this crushing uncertainty? Or do we risk watching the final act of a dynasty slip from our grasp like sand through our fingers? From dynasty champ to dogged underdog, this is the moment the tale is either written in fire or fades in doubt. I'm not willing to bet on surrender, not yet. This team embodies resilience. We've seen them bounce back from the brutal barbs of injury and fate before. From the historic run of 5 straight finals to this silent, ominous sideline storm, the Warriors have never folded without throwing a punch that echoes through the ages. And yet, as someone who has bled blue and gold through every clutch shot, every soul-crushing injury, and every championship parade, I can feel that something massive is shifting beneath the surface of this team, something raw and electric and terrifying. It's the gap between survival and legacy, a door that swings on a razor's edge carved by grit, trust, and the stubborn refusal to quit. So this right now is where our faith as fans is put to the ultimate test. Now I need you, Dub Nation, to drop your wildest, most unfiltered takes down below. Is this the crucible that will remake the Warriors into something fiercer and untouchable? Or are we staring at the painful unraveling of the last golden chapter? Don't hold back. Don't sugarcoat, for we are the heartbeat behind the chase. Center rower, and your fire is the true splash that will keep this legacy alive. I'm there with you in the trenches, receipts in hand, ready to tear apart every possibility. Let's storm the comments.